Welcome back. So now that we've gotten basic sliders working for our figure, I just wanted to perhaps tidy this up a little bit. So there are some more features that you can have for your GUIs, and these can be found under Tools, GUI Options, and this window comes up and has resize behavior, and you can make it non-resizable, proportional. Let's try and make it proportional. I actually don't have much experience with this, but we'll see how this comes into play. Command line accessibility is through callbacks. So callbacks are these functions you see in the code that's generated by MATLAB, and that's how we talk to objects. So we want to leave those callbacks, but the other options are there. So you can have no command line accessibility, but that is probably not what you want to use. You probably want to use the system color scheme. So like I talked about before with operating systems looking differently, that's probably a good thing to have on. GUI allows only one instance to run. That's probably a good idea. And you do want callback function prototypes. So let's say OK for that for proportional resizing. Now I want to resize the actual figure. To do that, I just right click the actual area that's empty, so not an object, and go to Property Inspector. You'll see that the tag says Figure 1. I don't really mind about this. I could change it if I wanted, but that's okay. So to make the dimensions of the overall figure what we wanted, we just open up the Property Inspector for this figure by right clicking on it and going Property Inspector. Oops. I need to change the units to be pixels, and then from there I can change things like the width of the figure, the height of the figure, the position, default. Well, let me just change this to be 800. This by 600. Okay, so that's a bit bigger now, and that's what we expect. It looks like it's adjusted a few other things here. That's not a big concern right now. Let's close that and see what happens when we run. To make this more in proportion, I'll need to adjust all of the objects within the figure. So to do that, for a start, I might align these neatly. So my color window, go to Property Inspector. I want its position to be maybe 20 pixels down and 20 pixels across. So make sure the units are in pixels, not characters. Characters is a very weird default. So X is 20. And if we try Y is 20, you'll see that it goes from the bottom left, not from the top left. So to do that, I need to now consider how high I want to make this. Bearing in mind that this is 600 pixels, I might make the height something like 600. Oh, it's too big. Okay, let's try 350. And now I can make the height something like 370. $230. So that's like so. Width is going to be 40 less than 800, so that is going to be 760. And there that is. So I'm happy with that for now. Change these to be the X coordinate of our color window is 20, so the X coordinate of these should be 20, and the Y coordinate is 230. This is 350 high, so we have 450 pixels to play with here. I don't think that's reflecting correctly, but let's just get something working first. So I might make the Y coordinate for this something like 200. Change units. X is 20, Y is 200. It's not low enough. 180 seems to work. Okay. Width, I don't want it to be the entire width of the color box because I want an edit box to be there as well. So I might make this 700, and that's a bit big. 650 works. Height 50 pixels. Now that the height's changed, I can make this a little bit lower. That's good. Okay, so now that I've sorted that, I want this to have maybe a gap of 20 between the two bars. So we adjust the pixels. 20. What was the y coordinate there? Was 160. So with the height of 50, then this should be 190. No? Where's 160? Oops. So this should be 90. Okay. And width again, what's the width? 650. So that's done. Now just do the same for the last one. 50, 30. It's disappeared because my units are not proper. Height 50, 30, 20, and I've forgotten the width again. 650. Oops. So my slider bars are in position. Now let's move the edit text boxes to be at maybe pixel 700. The y coordinate will have to be the same for each of these, so that's 160. Make the height the same. Make the width 50 as well. A little bit more. That'll do. So I do the same for all of these. X coordinate will be 700. The y coordinate will be 90. Finally, width of 80. And the y coordinate is 30. Okay, let's run the figure as we want to save. And here's my new figure. If I maximize this, it hasn't scaled. So there might be some extra work in getting that to scale, or I could just turn off the scaling. So now, after a lot of work, I've managed to align all of these neatly, and all I needed to do that was come into my property editor for each one of these slider bars, change the units to be in pixels, and then change the position. And I made everything start with the buffer of 20 pixels on the left here, and I've spaced them all by 20 pixels. So all these slider bars have a width of 650 and a height of 50, so on and so forth. So that's a little bit tedious, but that's how you do it. If you wanted to change the default text of these edit boxes, you just need to go to the string value and change that, and that's what will be displayed by default. So now let's do something useful with this. So again, going into our GUI options just to make sure that our resize behavior is proportional. So let's let's leave that as it is, and observe that upon running our figure, you'll see that maximizing the figure doesn't actually scale anything. And I suspect that's because you need to change Why don't you go on top? That's fine. Maybe not. The reason that the figure won't scale as you maximize it is because the units aren't normalized. So if we later on change that to be normalized, then the whole thing will scale. But for now, let's just dive into some code. So what I want to do is, as the sliders are adjusted, the edit boxes are adjusted, and vice versa. So if the edit boxes are adjusted, so is the slider bar. So the first thing I do here is separate my old code from the new code, and the reason I do that is so that I know that this is working and I don't need to touch that. So let's start on some new code. So the first thing I need to do is to work out what it is I'm doing here. The red slider callback is what happens when we adjust the red slider. So because we've adjusted the red slider, we need to update the text of its corresponding edit box. In particular, this edit box is called red edit. I've called the other two blue edit and green edit. So to modify its behavior, all I need to do is with the set command, and within the structure of handles red edit, we want to set the property string to red color. Remember that red color corresponds to the color of the red slider, and we get that with the get command and HObject, because HObject refers to the object in question from this callback. So by getting HObject's value, we get the current red color. All I need to do then is to write this into the edit box. So if I run this, bring this over here, you can see that that works. I actually suspected that this wouldn't work because this is of type string, whereas this is a numerical value. So I would have thought it would be necessary to do a num to string conversion in here. Let's try that. And that works as well. So yet another reason why MATLAB's a bit dirty for things like this, but hey, if you forget, it works. So you can see precise codes there, but for now it still won't do anything if I did something like that. So let's get that working. I need to find the corresponding red edit callback, not the create function, and do something like the red color in question is obtained from HObject, because HObject is the red edit box, and we're getting the property string. So whatever I typed into the string of this object is my new red color. So then all I should need to do is say set handles dot red slider, and the property of the red slider is value to red color. Let's try now. So that still works. If I change that to 0.8999, I get a big nasty error. Value must be numeric. So you'll see that the absence of the error before with the number not being a string is different to this error, but an opposite. So for whatever reason MATLAB wants to do this back to front, it will throw out an error for the conversion not being there, but before it didn't. So let's do the conversion now. String to num, and now that should work. That still works, and that still works as well. However, the color inside the color box is not updated, so I need to update that code as well. So before I do any sets, I might do another get command, and I'll do current color equals, to save myself some typing, I'll copy the corresponding line. So we just get the color window's color. Then I'll say new color is this. except that the first code is going to be our red color. This would be current color 2, this would be current color 3. I might go ahead and make this a little bit neater. So that's current colors element 2 and 3. That's my new color. So now I'll do setting at the bottom, set handles dot color window, property color, honoring American spelling, like so. Observe that the slider still works, but this does not. Object name, axis, color. Again, it's because of my conversion here. Red color is still a string here, and it's not a number. So I need to do a string to num conversion here. So you have to be on the ball with this sort of thing. But once you have it working, you can forget about it because you know it works. And now it works. Cool. And we haven't done it for this. So I'll finish this screencast and now finish everything else off.